Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the match between FC Barcelona and Villarreal. FC Barcelona have been able to defeat Villarreal 4-1 with a hat-trick coming from Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski putting the cherry on top. Barcelona were the dominant ones. Barcelona showcased that they can be competitive and show a lot of intensity and focus in the very beginning of a game, because one of the biggest problems that Barcelona have had in the past few months is starting the game off correctly. Usually what we see is Barcelona making a lot of mistakes, allowing the opposition to get through them in the first 5 to 10 minutes and conceding a goal very early. But in this game against Villarreal, it was very different. I saw Barcelona way more active, way more intense, way more focused. They were willing to win every duel, whether it was defensive or offensive. And that, my friends, is exactly how FC Barcelona should be starting in every game moving forward. Barcelona also had a 2.96 expected goal rate and at the same time scoring 4 goals, which basically means that even though our chances were not so clear, Barcelona still managed to receive 4 goals and force a win and force 3 points, because this game could have been way more complicated because Villarreal were playing a very good game as well. They wanted to play, but I do see a Barcelona that is recognizing that they have to pick up their level. They have to do better because the next upcoming games are going to be very important, and if they want to do well in all competitions, which is LaLiga, the Champions League, the Copa del Rey, you first have to build your foundation in LaLiga and have that as your #1 priority, because when you do well in LaLiga, you will do very well in the Champions League and the Copa del Rey. It is just how it goes and how football does work. So Barcelona are active, and they're active for a very big reason. We have Atletico Madrid next for the Copa del Rey, Athletic Club right after that, and then Newcastle for a Champions League match. Then we have to face Sevilla, and then Newcastle again, and then Rayo Vallecano, and then Atletico Madrid again. Many big games are coming up, and I do see Barcelona with the correct attitude. But let's focus on this game, right? Because like I've said, Barcelona were not perfect, but they looked way more mature. They were controlled, very self-aware. They understood that they had to keep going with the tempo, building great flow, organize the ball, and it made it very hard for Villarreal. As a matter of fact, before I even talk about this game, I also want to congratulate Hansi Flick and this era that he has built at Barcelona, because he has now officially managed 100 matches, and after 100 matches, he has received 75 wins, 9 draws, 16 losses, 281 goals scored, and 119 goals conceded. And through these games and losses and wins and draws, we have won La Liga, we have won the Copa del Rey, we have won the Spanish Super Cup twice, we have reached the Champions League semifinals as well for the first time in 6 years. I really do think that this is a Barcelona team that is no longer rebuilding. It's a team that I think is fine-tuning and looking to see just what small areas can they fix. Like, for example, one of the biggest problems that Barcelona had was Lamine Yamal being so isolated and being by himself. Like, when Lamine Yamal tries to make a game out of himself, the rest of the players like Fermín López, Jules Koundé, Lewandowski, Ferran, like everybody, Frankie, it goes for everybody. They all never really complimented Lamine Yamal. And when Lamine Yamal had the ball, and especially against Girona and Atletico Madrid, which were 2 matches that just happened and we just lost a couple of days ago, every time Lamine Yamal had the ball, the game felt very stretched, right? The team got stretched because Lamine Yamal was so isolated and everybody else was playing their own game. But against Villarreal, there was more maturity, more unity, and every time Lamine Yamal had the ball, he had the players around him to support him, hence the reason why he was able to get 3 total goals. Lamine Yamal scored a hat-trick tonight for the first time in his Barcelona career. It is a historic night. He also ended with 4 shots on target, 6 total shots, 6 successful take-ons, 13 touches in the opposition box, became the youngest La Liga hat-trick goal scorer since 1934. And when he did leave, because he was substituted by Rooney Bardi later in the game, there was a big standing ovation. Everybody was applauding him. Everybody was congratulating him for doing such amazing things on the field, right? Because Lamine Yamal, at the age of just 18 years old, is able to score these high-quality goals. And they're not penalties. They're not tap-ins like you see from other players in La Liga. They're high-quality finishes. It is amazing how Yamal is able to not just score 3 goals, but how he does it. And overall this season, he has 18 goals, 16 assists, which rounds up to 34 goal contributions in 36 matches in all competitive competitions. And Lamine Yamal is close to breaking a record, because when it comes to the most La Liga goals by a under 18 player, #1 is Raúl with 28 goals. Lamine Yamal currently has 27 goals, so he is 1 goal below Raúl. And what's crazy is Yamal still has 12 games left before turning 19 years old, and he can definitely find 2 or 3 to go above Raúl and be the #1 in this category. After the match, Lamine Yamal said a few things that really did, I would say, calm me. It excited me as well because of what could be happening in the near future. Yamal has clarified that, people expect me to score 100 goals per season since I was 16, and that's very difficult. And a few months ago, I was struggling mainly because of the groin issue, and I did not feel happy. But now with the groin issue going away, now I'm enjoying football again, and that is so great to hear. Like, I am so glad to hear that Yamal has finally moved away from that groin injury, because I knew that it was was bothering him. I know that when it comes to a groin injury, it's very hard for you to move away from that at such a young age because it's very common. It's also very hard to get rid of. But now that Yamal has gotten away from that, that is the perfect thing that we do want to hear, especially with the timing, right? Because of the important games that is coming up. We need Yamal at 100%. And I can't even imagine, right? Just projecting what Yamal could become by the time he turns 25, 26, 27 years old. He's already the best player in the world. I also do want to shout out Pedri because Pedri came in later in the game. He did come in for Dani Olmo to play right next to Marc Bernal. We did talk about this in the previous video on how I did say like, okay, like what is the best double pivot that we could display on the pitch? And I did say that it should be Pedri and Marc Bernal, but we did start in this match with Olmo and Bernal. Pedri came in later only because Hansi Flick wanted to be very cautious on how many minutes Pedri does play because he just came back from injury. But the fact that we got a 35 to 40 minute cameo of Pedri playing with Marc Bernal, I really do think this is the way to go. Like this has to be the way to go. I saw a very dominant Barcelona side once Pedri came in and linked with Marc Bernal. Pedri was the one that gave Barcelona so much rhythm, so much impact, and Barcelona just looked like a much different team as soon as Pedri came in on the 59th minute and immediately also giving out an assist to Yamal, a through pass that split through the whole goddamn team, and Yamal found the third goal because of him. So Barcelona enter like a different orbit. Like I'm talking about, Pedri does dictate the tempo. He chooses when to slow down the game. He connects the midfield to the attack so easily. When I saw Pedri making passes here and there, connecting with the players, I'm like, this is the Barcelona that I recognize. This is the Barcelona that I want to see and what we want to see in the upcoming games. A fluid Barcelona, a Barcelona team that can combat against any defensive shape. And of course, the one that was right next to Pedri, it was Marc Bernal. Marc Bernal brought the structural balance from the very beginning, always anticipating the transitions, always being there to intercept. He plays with calm rhythm as well, stepping forward intelligently, stealing the ball away from many players. He brings so much more defensive stability. I really do think that defensively, Marc Bernal is an upgrade to Frankie and Pedri. So Bernal's game is growing and growing very fast. I can really tell that Flick wants him to be fit. He wants him to be a starter in the midfield. And I do think that we're going to be seeing that. With Frankie out for 5 to 6 weeks, Bernal is going to be seeing more minutes than ever before. And he has shown that he has the capacity to be responsible. A 90% success rate in passes is nothing that you can just like shrug away. This is the real deal. He also had 2 out of 2 successful dribbles, 70 touches, 3 passes into the final third, 2 out of 2 accurate long balls, 2 clearances, 1-headed clearance, 2 interceptions, 3 recoveries, and was only dribbled past 2 times. Another player I do want to shout out, it is Fermín López. Fermín López was exceptional in the first 45 minutes, but I mean like the best midfielder for Barcelona in the first 45 minutes. In the second half, I will say it goes to Pedri, but in the first 45 minutes in the first half, it was all about Fermín López. Fermín López ended with 2 assists by giving out the first 2 goals to Yamal. The way that, once again, he is able to steal, anticipate, intercept, take the ball away, win every duel, it gives Barcelona a huge advantage. I think that as of right now, at the time that I'm recording this video, the best midfield that we could place to really be competitive in all competitions, it is Pedri with Bernal and with Fermín López playing in the number 10 position. Sometimes they play in a 4-3-3 with Bernal as a lone pivot and Pedri and Fermín as number 8s. But all in all, Fermín López understands how to play in his position for sure. Like his goal contribution rate is growing by the season. Since his first season at Barcelona back in the 2023-2024 season, he has had 11 goal contributions in 42 matches. In the following season, he had 17 goal contributions in 46 matches. And now he currently has 25 goal contributions in 33 matches. So less games that he has played so far compared to the others, but he has already beaten the previous 2 seasons when it comes to goal contributions. It's insane. His trajectory is going to go higher and higher, and it goes higher every season. He's becoming more decisive. And so in the first half against Villarreal, he provided 2 assists, 2 big chances were created, 3 key passes, 2 shots, 5 duels were won, 34 touches, 4 defensive contributions, and 2 recoveries. I just think that like we can no longer come in with the agenda and the whole thing about saying like, yeah, Fermín López is a impact sub, a super sub, or like he brings that energy off the pitch. We can't say that anymore. Fermín López is a starter. He is a player that Barcelona must take seriously, really consider him as one of the best midfielders in the world as well, like above the players of Bellingham, above the players like Mac Allister and so forth. Fermín López is definitely one of my favorite players at Barcelona right now. Like for real, my top 3 favorite players, it is Rafinha, Gavi, and Fermín. Yes, I have Yamal and Pedri there as well, but the only reason why I have those players up there is because they always give 110%. They always never give up, and they always come with the correct attitude, with the intensity, and that is what Barcelona need. And those other players, they feed off of that energy. So Fermín López is one of those players. I would also like to shout out to Eric Garcia, who is reinventing himself as a center back. Once again, had a phenomenal game. He has been shining as a center back. He shined as a midfielder. He shined as a fullback. He is also bringing the leadership presence at the back, taking on every duel, defeating players like Paris or Gueye or Pepe Pepe, any of those players from Villarreal, Eric Garcia was on top of everything. But I mean like everything. 98 out of 103 passes were completed, 1 chance was created, 112 touches, 16 passes into the final third, 2 out of 3 accurate long balls, 2 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 5 recoveries. Those are insane numbers, and Eric Garcia is slowly starting to become maybe Barcelona's best center back, right next to Pau Cubarsí. And I have always been a big fan of what Flick is building at the back. Like, I like what I see between Cubarsí and Eric Garcia. It is a center back pairing that I think could work at Barcelona and also in the Spanish national team. And it would be insane to me if I ever hear that Luis de la Fuente does not call up Eric Garcia for the World Cup in 2026, because he is at that level. And it's also unfortunate, going back to Barcelona, that he's not going to be able to play against Atletico Madrid for the second leg, because he did receive a red card in the first leg. And yes, it was a bad game coming from him, and yes, he did score an own goal as well. All in all, when you look at the whole season, Eric Garcia has been a 10 out of 10 for us. So his presence and the material that he does bring on the pitch is going to be missed in the second leg against Atletico Madrid. But all in all, like I've said, Barcelona is no longer rebuilding. We are refining, we are retuning, we're looking to see where we can make small modifications, but this is the Barcelona team that we have all been waiting for. And we just need to see these players give this type of impact day in, day out, and prioritize La Liga as always. Prioritize La Liga, prioritize the league, and you'll see how everything else does fall into place for the Champions League and also the Copa del Rey. So currently Barcelona is in first place. We're 4 points above Real Madrid, but that is only because Barcelona have 1 game more compared to Real Madrid. Real Madrid will be able to respond in the upcoming days on Monday against Getafe. Whether they can win, lose, or draw, we'll see. So congratulations to all players, like everybody. Everybody played well. Of course, I can take down players like Alejandro Balde or Jules Koundé, who, yes, had some misses here and there. Maybe they couldn't produce as much on the field and bring the attacking opportunities, but all in all, you know, Jules Koundé had the assist. He could have done better, but he had the assist. But I'm not here to take down any player. It's not the time. It's not the time to take down no player. It's not the time to say that this player had a bad game or whatever. There's no time for that. We have very important games coming up. Congratulations to everybody. Eric Garcia, Cubarsí, Balde, Olmo, Bernal, Fermín López, Rafinha, Ferran Torres, Lewandowski, who also scored. And they tried to take that goal away from him, by the way. They thought that there was an offside before Lewandowski scored the last minute goal, but there was nothing, right? Congratulations to him as well. We need that. We need the best out of Lewandowski. Let's look for that. Let's always look for the chances that we can create for Lewandowski, have him score 1 to 2 goals every 90 minutes, because he does have the capacity. But all in all, like I've said, very happy. That is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.